Let's talk about singular versus plural in eloquent models. So typically you have PHP artisan make model and the model name should be singular, which means that Laravel by default will figure out what database table to work with, which would be plural, so pluralized from the model name. So if we do PHP artisan make model task, by default it assumes that it works with a database table called tasks. So if we generate, for example, model singular form with migration, the migration name is create projects table, not the project singular. Now this is a typical behavior and kind of a best practice, but it's not the rule. So if you generate projects, it will still also work. I don't advise it, I don't recommend it because it's not the convenient practice, but I wanted to show you that it's not a strict rule. Also, let's take a look at singular and plural in multiple words. So for example, you have projects table and then for example, project type. Let's do make model project type. Or should it be projects type? What do you think? Let's try to generate that with migrations and see what tables would it generate. Or actually, with the same thing, let's generate a controller and let's see the controller name. So for task and project models, obviously the controller name would be singular, task controller, project controller. But what about this one? Let's see. And we have project type model, project types table, and project type controller. So it doesn't change anything in the controller name, but it does add a pluralized form in the table name, just the table name and just the last part. So if you have multiple words under camel case here, in the snake case, only the last word would be pluralized. Again, this is not the rule and you can override that. For example, you can generate projects type. And why would you do that? Because then the table name would be projects types. And then if you look at the list of your database table in your SQL client like SQL Pro or Table Plus or PHPMyAdmin, then with this scenario, project types would be above the projects. But if you want kind of visual consistency, the projects would be above and projects types below. You can do something like this, projects type, and then you will have projects types table and projects type controller. Personally, I don't like this approach, but I just wanted to show you that it is possible. And of course, you can override what table you're working with. For example, if you generate a role model, but your table is not called role, but instead it is called user role, for example, you can open role model and provide the property of table, for example, user roles, and that would be the table this model will work with. So it won't be just automatically pluralized, it will take it from this protected property.